What's up, dogs? Today we'll be going over some best in slot gear and artifacts for particular heroes, Ingrid Tower Defense, a Cultist Tower Defense, and a shout out to a real creative team, so stick around. Just a quick PSA before we get into some defense reviews and recommendations. I noticed some people trying out Nerissa and GvG, and let me show you why that's not a great idea. So Nerissa is great with her damage reduction, multiple heal targeting, but there is an uncontrollable in GvG, and that would be her insta ult. And when she does that ult, she stops healing, and if you're facing someone down like Maul or even lightning guards, it can be completely detrimental to your defense. So if possible, don't use her. Go for healers like Lily, Carnelian, Ezrein. They're all really great. They have death saves. Ezrein can prevent one-shots, which is really handy. Percy's pretty good. And if you don't have any of those available, just an ordinary healer is much better than Nerissa. Also, try to stay away from the AoE healers like Aelin or Dio-chan, as they won't be able to keep up with the damage being done to your tank. So keep that in mind as well. Anyways, I wanted to take a look at some of the defenses that you guys are running and troubleshoot some of the losses. And some of them are really quick. I'm not sure if GvG is having a bug where it is updating gear, because that happened to me once and it updated the wrong sets to my GvG Defense. Luckily I caught it before it started. But you know, we'll take a look at Indy's account. I was troubleshooting his loss here. Not a terrible defense setup. I mean, obviously Praetus is going to get a lot done. This team has plenty of anti-air, single target, and AoE, so not bad units. So I wanted to take a look at the gear, and I notice a lot of you guys are not running sets on your tanks, and that's pretty important. I know you want to get your HP as high as possible in your guys' defense, but even a complete Guardian set is going to do more than a broken set with extra HP. So try to complete these sets with HP mains and tank subs. Obviously, if you can do that with Unshaken Will or Tempered Will, that's the way to go. Ezrein also in a broken set. But that's not really the crux of the issue. I just like this looks like it was auto-equipped because the healing effect is so high. You don't necessarily need this much healing effect. You want to cap out around 100 to 120 and then invest more into attack and attack speed. Yeah, I have a feeling that's why this defense failed. It had issues with the support, so the tank fell because he didn't have the correct sets, and the healer couldn't keep up with the damage. Taking a look at Indy Silas, there's a little bit of stuff wrong here. I mean, the attack is super high, which is great for most marksmen. The crit damage is really low though, and that's what you're going to be primarily using Silas for, is his ult that cuts through the defense anyways. So you're going to want to divert these numbers a little bit, do a little bit of shifting. So instead of 3 attack mains, you can go 2 attack mains with 1 crit damage main. You can even run Wicked Vengeance if you want that much more crit damage to really take out those tanks and mauls and stuff like that. Then your Numera is geared like your Silas should be, where you have 2 attack mains with 1 crit damage main, and the problem is her attack isn't high enough to benefit from this much crit damage. So basically what you need to do is put on 3 attack mains and a Warlord set in order to cut through the defense enough to be able to benefit from your crit damage. Todd's having the same issue here with incomplete sets. His tank is falling and his healing is not quite what it should be. So take a look at that. And then Arab, who got a big shout out last season, which is why I think there might be a bug with the GvG updating gear. You guys will probably have to check it the day before going forward just to make sure it hasn't done anything wonky. So Auberknight and I, we did some coaching to build these teams with A3 Silas, A3 Nyx, and Boreas here. It should work out well, but the gear is just kind of all over the place. So I've already gone over Silas. You're basically going to gear most of your marksmen with 3 attack mains and some warlord sets to get that attack as high as possible, because marksmen generally have very low attack. Yeah, see, this doesn't even have 100% crit rate either. You want to get that to 100% and crit damage around 300 or so. Basically as high as you can get it after prioritizing your attack. Boreas is crowd control, so you can just put pretty good speed on him, some rage regen, which it looks like he has, but these sets are just all over the place, so you'd want to put him in either a mana spring if you just want the crowd control, or if you want to do damage, probably soulbound arcana. For Praetus, Warlord, and Soulbound Arcana, like even Auberknight here is running 57 HP. That's going to be something that he's going to take a look at. Ares, basically the same, Warlord, and 3 attack main Soulbound Arcana. For Lucius, you want to run Infernal Roar just to start hitting that damage immediately. And then, just like most of your marksmen, Warlord. And then I guess I should have went over the artifacts as well, so sorry about that. Spirit Siphon or his exclusive is great. You want to go with the AoE artifact on Nyx. For Boreas, Tear of Twilight on him. For Cyrus or any tank, you always want to run a Bastion Ring. Yeah, always run a Bastion Ring. A maxed out one. It's always going to be better than Brokir's exclusive, just for that damage mitigation. Tear of Twilight should be on Praetus. The AoE artifact for Ares. I can't remember the name. Sorry, I had to pull up my own Lucius to remember the name of this artifact. A Shadow Gaze is great, or a Blight Caller's Claw. And for healers, you just want to run a healer set with a Taya's Bomb. If you're looking to do a lot of alts with your healer, then you could run the Horn as well. So yeah, that basically covers basic gear for these types of heroes. Basically a good rule of thumb is if your hero has really high attack, then you can invest more into like Wicked Vengeance for more crit damage. But generally you just got to make sure that you have the attack to cut through the defense in order to benefit from your crit damage. And tanks have to tank, healers have to heal. Hopefully this helps somebody. If you guys have more questions, please let me know, and we're going to move on to the next defense here. Next up, I want to look at my boy Wild One. Dude's an absolute monster on his main account, but looking at his alt account here, I really want to encourage you to stick with the Cultist lineup. I think it's neat. I think it's cool. I was experimenting with my own in the sandbox. Let me just show you what it can do. So this is the basic layout of it. We have Malvira as the tank opposed to Captain Reeves, because she does have her own death save. She can pull, she does decent damage. And actually, I don't think I have her in a tank set for this run, so we'll just see how this goes. I put Honora at the top because she'll alt way out here, also hitting any units that start to cross Malvira. She'll be right there on top of them. Morgan does need a bit of HP to survive the snipes here, which we're gonna demonstrate with my level 5 Garnet Guards. And then Beatrix was absolutely slamming in this run, so let me just show what this can do. We'll do like a flyer run, and then we'll do like a mall run. I'll probably speed it up a little bit just so there's not a whole lot of pauses. First things first, we're gonna go down, we're gonna bait these alts, and then we're gonna drop down our Garnet Guards, try to snipe out this Morgan. After we're done here, I'll show you how much health she actually has. As you can tell, Garnet Guards were not effective at all. We're gonna go ahead and drop down a couple Lightning Guards, and ordinarily magic damage would not be strong against Lightning Guards. This is A1 Morgan with A1 Beatrix, so you know you got to keep that in mind, but they just absolutely melted those. We're gonna try to do another fly, but Morgan's already got her alt back, so I'm gonna drop these guys down the tank, drop some in from behind. They're already destroyed. So that's the flyer run. We're gonna go ahead and quit this. Let's try to run some tank busters with it. We'll just absolutely try to destroy this Malvira. So like any run, we're gonna bait the alt, just drop down a healer. As you can see, Beatrix can just cross map anything. We're gonna drop down our Maw. We're gonna start building up the sustain here between healers, shields, and Maw, and then we're going to drop down our tank busters. First the Shadowcaster and then the axes. So you want to place the Shadowcasters just a little bit ahead of the axes, because they're gonna stop and cast a spell, and then they're about in line with each other. And I mean, they just get absolutely wrecked. Absolutely wrecked. So if you have these units, give it a try. Let me know how it goes. And then two more interesting comps that I wanted to talk about. I know we got people in the bubble here, so I wanted to cover some of the bubble. And you know, we have some good units in the bubble. So we have like Ingress Praetus. This guy has an Ingrid and a Talon. Just some general good stuff in here, as well as Bocchi as well. And so this is an interesting setup that you could run with Praetus Ingrid. You could run it with Ymrit. I'll just show you what it can do. I've set this up with Ingrid Ymrit because I don't have Praetus. You could run a number of things depending on what you have, but the two most important elements is going to be Brokir or another solid tank like maybe a Regulus, a Cyrus, a Torador, Olog if you have absolutely nothing, an important healer like Karn, Lily, somebody that is going to be able to keep this Brokir alive for a long time. And of course, AI or I. Basically, you do need a bit of HP on Ingrid just in case, but the idea is that AI is going to disrupt any sniping by the Garnet Guards that attack Ingrid. The nice thing about this setup is the healers and the fools, they can no longer stand in the background and heal and set up shields, because Ingrid's just going to be tearing it up over here. In between those bursts, she can switch to single target, and Ymrit is also doing a little bit of extra damage, anti-air, crowd control. I mean, he's basically all in one unit. But you could put a Praetus down, you could put even Talon down. I saw that one comp had Talon, so you could probably use her as well, and let Ingrid do all the work. I wanted to give you guys an idea of how much health that they were running. For Morgan, she was at 28k, and for Ingrid, 29k, and that was surviving my level 5 Garnet Guards. And finally, a huge shout out to Grey Jedi, who I think's built a pretty fun comp here. It's a northern team with Hars, Valk, Space Horse, Mari, and Vortex. Honestly, there's probably improvements that you could make with this comp. Like obviously Hars is going to be a lot better under Karn. But I think it's very solid. It's getting a decent amount of wins, and I just kind of wanted to show off what it can do. So in this one, they're going to attempt the swarm, and you guys can kind of see how this plays out. Hars is not a great tank, which is why I recommended that you run Carnelian with him if you can. Lily's another great option, but usually Hars can be mauled down. But anyways, you see the knockbacks, the slows, the freezes are just absolutely disrupting this man's attacks. Lightning Guards did not even get close. The swarm is coming in, and shields are up, and Valk is just putting in the work here. Knockback, freeze, alt. It works incredibly well for swarms and flyers. So Great job, man. Keep up the good work, and I can't wait to see what you come up with in later seasons. And that's it. I thought this stuff was interesting. I wanted to talk about it, and it's really hard to get in touch with a dozen people to talk about all these little nitpicky things, so making a video is much easier, and hey, maybe somebody else will learn from it.